Sorry, guys. Good afternoon. Good morning. Morning, Denise. Let me just save the... I was trying to make the layout a little bit bigger. But I've just realised I probably need to work on a new layout on here, because what I would like to have done is move me over a little bit, make the screen a little bigger. Problem I've got then is I block out all the social media text, so we could just go back to this layout, to be fair, couldn't we? Hello there, guys. Hi, Royston. Hi, Denise. Hope you're both well. Had a bit of a data drop, so we're going to just be digesting the reaction to this data. I unfortunately got stopped on a euro kiwi move at break even. Well, 5 pips in profit. I moved my stop loss before the news. I thought we'd get a bit of a reaction, but on euro kiwi I wasn't expecting too much of a reaction, but I suppose it's because of the sort of high volatility we've got in the markets at the moment. And yeah, just stopped me out. 5 pips in profit, and then has literally turned and gone the other way. So I would be, what would I be now? I'd be back in profit by 60 pips. So that's a bit of a frustrating one. Bit of a frustrating one there. But maybe there's a potential to get back into that one. I'm also watching gold here for a little bit of downside as well. So we'll have a look at the data first on investing.com here, as you can see. And I'm just going to take a look at kind of what's been going on this afternoon. So at 1:30, let me just change this to the time that I'm on, just to make it a little bit easier for me. Where's GMT +1? Here we go. Yeah, so about 1:30 p.m. we had some data drop, which was the core CPI data. We had year-on-year, month-on-month, as well as other CPI, and we had some initial jobless claims as well. And yeah, we've seen quite a little bit of surprise here. So I think one of the biggest surprises is that initial jobless claims. Although we were expecting or forecasted to come in a little bit higher than previous, we've actually kind of smashed through that. So that's up to 248k. Good afternoon, Roberto. So yeah, that's up to 248. We've got CPI came in as expected, 0.2%. Same with core CPI as well. CPI year on year up to 3.2%. So to me, this is going to be a bit more positive. I would say it's positive dollar rather than negative dollar. I think in terms of what happens with the Federal Reserve going forward, this kind of helps them to either keep rates high for a longer period of time, or it kind of backs their potential for another rate hike. Now, there is... the market's pricing at the moment that they are going to pause interest rates in the next meeting. So we're just bringing the FedWatch tool. The FedWatch tool is saying there's a 90.5% chance that we will see a pause at 5.25%, 5.5%. Only a 9.5% see a hike in the September meeting. Now, obviously, this is going to depend on the data that comes out, and that's what the Federal Reserve have said. They're going to depend on what the data comes out is to their next sort of plan. Seeing the initial job claims go up, that's a positive for them. They want to see that. Do they want to see CPI year on year coming in at 3.2%? Well, no, but it was forecast coming at 3.3%, so not the end of the world. They do want to see that core CPI though. Core CPI obviously pretty important at the moment, and we do have PPI data coming out tomorrow. The core CPI, which tends to be a little bit sticky, they want to see that come down, and it's being held at the moment. So depending on how sort of the next lot of job data comes out potentially going into next month, and other sort of data that comes out this following month, if we have a little look at what we've got for data coming up for the rest of this week. Like I said, we've got that core PPI coming out. Lots of crude oil stuff coming out as well. Can this do the month? Next week, retail sales, some FOMC meeting minutes. So could still be playing into the hands a little bit of the bullish US dollar. If we go over to the US dollar index, we're still trading above that 102 handle. We had quite a significant sort of move down through that jobless, through the CPI data, sorry. Price has now kind of come back above that 102. So at the moment, we are kind of stagnant, aren't we? We're almost sort of trading within that zone here. Between the 102 and the 102 sort of spot 60. So it'd be interesting to see how we close today. If we get a nice strong close above this 102 handle in here, does that suggest that maybe the sellers aren't getting involved and buyers are going to take price up to the next level of resistance, which is going to be sort of around this area here where we kind of come into the 103 handle, perhaps even to the 103 spot 50, which just sits above these kind of wicks here. Hey Justin, welcome to the stream. So yeah, interesting developments out of that. We'll see how this one continues to play out. I would like to see how that develops. So this is why I'm kind of watching sort of the 4-hour time frame at the moment. I want to see how this kind of closes. I know this is a brand new 4-hour candle, so you're gonna have to wait a while to see how that closes. But look at the hourly sort of reaction here. Big strong selling pressure coming in initially, that then followed by some strong buying coming in. I'm reading this into more it's positive dollar than negative, to be honest. So I would be expecting a little bit more of an incline here. That being said, that's why I was kind of looking at gold. If we look at it from a strategy perspective, I have just moved the 20 to a 200 moving average. That's why it's all the way up here, just giving me a bit of longer term perspective. But I'm looking at that weekly chart. All my analysis has been deleted, so I need to kind of put that back in. We had strong support coming through this trend line support through here. We were looking at potentially 1890 being a bit of a support point. Probably could put in these lows here now, sort of the $1,900 area is a strong level. That's not meant to happen. What have I done there? Okay, that's the answer. There we go. $1,900 obviously is the most recent area where price has found some support. So there could be some possibility for us to see a little bit of a move down into that area. I was expecting to see how this, or kind of wanted to see how this week closed. I think if we did close below this trend line, it could offer a bit more downside. If we were to get the fake out, I just thought that the CPI data might miss. If it did miss and we had like negative dollar, then if we had a strong weekly close here, it could be a sign that gold was going to move back to the upside. It didn't miss. In fact, the data's, come in line with those forecasts. So yeah, I don't really expect too much out of this now, apart from can we maybe trade back down to this $1,900 level if the dollar's going to remain a little bit bullish at this moment in time. So I think anything above $102 index is fairly bullish, in my opinion. What's that? 18. Let's change that to 1810, I think. Just change that a second. Let's have a look. Let's putting some labels on. Sorry, guys, all my analysis disappeared. Changed my template over and it got rid of all the. Vincent, good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing well, thank you. I feel much better from the other day, I must admit. So that's a positive. Jan, but results was negative. So why bullish for gold? That's what I'm saying. I thought that the CPI numbers would come in a little bit lower. So they didn't. They came in as forecast. And I would say that's a bit more of a positive for the US dollar at the moment. So I think gold is more likely. I just wanted to see how it reacted to these lows, because obviously we are coming into an area of support, and a lot of my trading is technical based. So whenever we start getting into these type of areas, I start to think, okay, well, what are the sellers doing at this point? If I was short from up here, where would I be taking my profits? I'd be taking my profits towards this sort of area down through here, right? So it's more of a, are we going to get a kind of close back up within this trend line support through here? If it does, then I think that's more bullish. But at the current moment in time, like I said, dollar index above 102, which it is at this current moment in time. If it stays above 102, I think dollar's going to remain bullish. And we're probably looking at a little bit more of a move higher, 103s, 103.50s. That means we should see gold continue a little bit lower. If I look at strategy on gold, so if I look at the hourly chart, for instance, we've got the 5200 moving average in here. What it was looking at one point when we were kind of very bearish there was the RSI coming through the 50. That could have been a sort of strategy setup for me. But we haven't got that at the moment. Price is pulling back. So we'll see. We'll see how this one reacts in here. We do have kind of like some kind of bearish channel resistance coming down through here as well. So that could be a bit of resistance coming through. I did quite like the break of this area and price sort of reliving and retesting down through this zone through here. You can see we had a bit of like a inverse head and shoulders pattern. We've also got consolidation. Now what usually happens is price comes in, retest that consolidation. So around this sort of $1,900 area, between that and sort of 1930s, we had a bit of an accumulation, right? That's buyers and sellers thinking that price is at fair value. We then trade out of that, so that means the buyers have won essentially, and we're coming back down and retesting that zone now. So if we were to pop out of that, this is what I'm kind of saying, if we were to pop out of this zone, I think it could lead to some buying pressure, but we'll see how it reacts in this little area, in this little pocket at the moment of gold. Some more questions. Denise, yeah, I thought CPI was going to come in a little bit higher. Okay, so you thought a little bit of the opposite to me. Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising if it did come in a little bit higher, really, does it? Yeah, and it's also bearish on Dow Jones after the 200 pip or 200 point drop. Let's have a look. You say you're short, sorry? I'm bearish on Dow Jones after the 200 points drop. I don't see a 200 point drop. Oh, here. And that one's reversed a little bit. That one has reversed a little bit. I actually think Dow Jones may be on for the highs again. Roberto, euro dollar in consolidation rotation zone for the past 8 days. Needs a catalyst to show where it's going to go on the daily chart. Let's flip back to that. Yeah, we kind of pointed this out in yesterday's video. Actually, I was looking at this zone through here and just thinking of where price could go after the data. You know, if the dollar started to sort of turn bearish, then, you know, Euro dollar breaking through trend line resistance, breaking above this zone, for instance, could lead to a bit of a move back up to that spot 112.50. If we didn't have that and we had the opposite effect, you know, essentially it was looking for a bit of downside. But Euro very strong at the moment. That's why I've been heavily sort of long Euro, Euro Oz, Euro Kiwi, Euro CAD even as well. The sun's pulled back a little bit. I was watching a Euro Yen long this morning as well, but that didn't quite come back at all. It pretty much just took off and kept going. But yeah, Euro dollar's an interesting one. I like Euro. If we look at it from a weekly perspective, I mean, that's kind of screaming to me to go higher. But that's only from a sort of weekly technical basis. Like I said, we need some kind of fundamental to push that to the next level. So I am watching this consolidation here. You know, anything above maybe 1.1050 would be good. Anything above that. This is the important area, I think, on the dollar index at the moment. This 102 handle seems to be a sticking point. Sorry, Jan. At the opening of the New York session, is that DJ? Dow Jones. Opening of the New York session. Let me just put my... Yeah, so the opening of the New York session around midday for me to 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. So, I mean, yeah, that doesn't look very bearish at the moment. 200 moving averages. I quite like longs, especially if you look at it from a monthly perspective, right? You've got that breakout there in the monthly. We broke through this kind of key high, the 35,000 sort of dollar area. Next level of interest really is coming back up into the 36,500s. I'm looking at a bit more of a long-term view on the stock market at the minute, and I think Dow Jones in particular could continue to rally. I know we did get some earnings, didn't we? Just type in US earnings. Let me see. Hmm. 9th of August. We had Disney earnings. And they came in a little bit lower. It's not the website I usually use. What's the website I usually use? She usually shows me all the earnings. I've lost that website. That's a little bit annoying. I'll have to have a look for it. But yeah, just from a monthly point of view, it looks like we're going to be hitting these all-time highs again on the Dow. I wouldn't be surprised if we got there either. The S&P 500, very sort of similar, although I quite like where price is heading to. So the 4600 area. Sorry, guys. Just had to clear my throat there. What else have we got going on then? So, CAD Yen long has been nice. That's from Roberto. Let's have a quick look at CAD Yen. Yeah, starting to kick back on again, CAD Yen. I mean, I was a little bit unfortunate on this one because we were looking for longs above the 107 spot 50. Looking for that 109 handle. Yeah, started to see a little bit of a kicker back in that the past few hours, haven't we? Especially after that data. Again, started to see a bit more of that risk on coming back in. Yen starting to weaken. So yeah, could see that higher. Roasting as well. Pound yen is in a trend. Weak yen or strong pound. Let's have a look at pound yen. Yeah, nice move up as well. Again, if you kind of look at the higher time frames, I think the higher time frames are giving us a little bit more of an inkling of what's going on. Yen weakness coming back in. Again, what's that down to? Let's go take a look at our VIX index as well. Volatility index coming back down through here. So the last time we spoke, it was on the rise. Now we're starting to see that sort of decline in the VIX again. Volatility index moving lower. Usually see yen weaken. Stock markets rally. So yeah, your likes of your Aussie yen could start performing well again. CAD yen. It's pretty much why I looked at euro yen long as well, because I like the idea of buying euro yen weakness. But that one just kind of took off. Where is euro yen? Yeah, in here. That one just took off. So I was looking at this morning. I was just waiting to see if we could get some kind of pullback, perhaps into this sort of range in here. Didn't quite get it though. Didn't quite get it, and prices just continued to trade on. So yeah, nothing really for me there. The only thing I like about euro yen is that we have kind of traded into this zone now. Now there is a big level through this zone at 159. Okay, so I'll be interested to see how price sort of reacts around about that 159 area. But you can ultimately say, look, we're back in within this sort of zone now. Is price going to go and seek the other side, right? And if it does, that means there's, you know, a big play to be had there. Again, it's just how do you get entry? I'm trying to look for a bit of a lower price to try and look for that entry, especially if we kind of look left on euro yen. You've got all this kind of data over here that you could work with. So a bit of patience, I think, is going to be required on this market. Let's flip back to pound yen though. Sorry, Royston, I was talking about this one. Yeah, I like 188. I do like 188 on pound yen. Sorry, nice little sort of right shoulder of a bigger head and shoulders pattern there. So yeah, 188 looks pretty good on pound yen. It's, again, you've just got to try and weigh up how you get involved with this market. We've had a lot of sideways movement recently. Now you're starting to get the pop, which is good, right? I don't see that considered as like missing the move. I consider that as, well, if that's now going to trend up to 188, you know, can I start looking at my 4-hour time frame? Can I start looking at my hourly time frame? You know, in theory, we had a nice little triangle pattern here as well, where you've got that sort of flat base highs, but then the lows are getting higher. Can often lead to a bit of a bullish breakout. So you've got all these signs to suggest, yeah, you should be bullish in this market. It's just waiting for what I like to say is a sort of strategy setup which allows me to consistently get in the market. So if we can get a little bit of a pullback, 183.60s, even better, 183.28s, that would be really nice. That's a 200. Let's see how that comes out. Bigger picture. Yeah. So it'd be nice to see that continue up. See how the week closes out. Because if the week can close out quite positive there, then you've got something to work with going forward. Because the way you could say that is now you're in a strong upward trend. So you could tick that off the list. What phase are you in? You could say, well, now we're in a sort of impulsive phase coming in on the weekly. So what we should really see on a 4-hour time frame is that trend within that area. So we need to try and catch these little pullbacks now on that one. Roberto DJ4H chart shows short-term resistance level being approached, but needs to show price action PA first. Yeah, we're obviously coming back into these swing highs, aren't we? So 35,500, even back up into sort of the 35,700s. Very similar though to sort of what we're seeing across the yen pairs. Really, I just like this monthly play. I think this monthly play is pretty good at the moment, especially if that volatility index does continue to push down. I think ultimately volatility index, our targets for this are down at the 12s, down at the 10s. So although we did get that sort of rally up from these 1350s, it's been pretty short-lived. And why it's been short-lived, I don't know, obviously, but because we are getting some good signs that there's potential for the volatility index to kick back in. But until that does, I don't think you're going to see much change in the sort of market dynamics with regards to the risk-on sentiment in the market. So we'll see what happens. Perhaps there's a bit of an area through there. Yeah, look at that wick up. We kind of wicked into this zone. Retested and then started to trade lower again. So I wonder if there's probably quite a strong volume level through there. The market's come and reacted to and started to push lower again. So another possible break to the downside for that market. And if volatility is going to continue lower, look for your stocks to rally, yen to weaken, all that jazz. I'm sorry. Good question, Vincent. What are the entering confirmations you look for? Depends what strategy I'm using. If I'm using a, let's say the market's in a range, for instance, and in a clear defined range, I'm looking for, kind of basically if price was to come back into these lows, I'm looking for sort of reversal patterns. My normal sort of trading style, I like to use stuff like volume profile, footprint data as well on futures. So let's say we came into here, we saw some large buying orders coming in. I'd be looking for some imbalances and looking to trade that sort of style of trading. For like swing trading, Forex trading, I like to use a couple of different strategies. My favorite one, obviously, I'll show you on here is the weekly and the 4-hour. Because I'm looking just to play sort of the longer moves there, where we have, let's say, for this instance, you can narrow it down to different time frames. So let's say we look at the sort of period through here. We just grab a tool. So let's say we look at the month of sort of July, and we go for the daily to the 1-hour time frame. Just going to zoom out. What I like to look for is higher time frame trends enter on the lower time frames, right? Sounds simple, but simple can be quite difficult. But RSI And I keep the entry. The reason why I have like a strategy entry is not necessarily because you should have a strategy entry. It's basically because it allows me to be consistent. Okay, if that makes sense. So when I come to look at my review at the end of the week, end of the month, or however many trades that I've taken within that period of time, I have a look and I look at it and go, well, did I follow? Was I consistent with my entries? That's sort of number something one to have a look at. And if it's a yes, that's good. Did I have more my entry criteria? You know, X, Y, and Z. But basically, it's what it helps me take out the emotion that comes along with it. Yeah, but one of my techniques is the 50-200 RSI. If a market is in an upward trend, we should see the 50 above the 200, and I like to see the RSI pass through the 50 and come back through it. So if it goes through the 50, comes back through it, that's an alert. So, and I say alert, okay, because it doesn't mean that you should just go and buy it, right, or sell it. It's just an alert. So think about your trade and strategy as like a little algo or something. I'm sorry, guys. All this talking is ruining my throat. So I'm only going to go on a little bit longer. But you can see there on the RSI, let me just bring it up. So that one there doesn't quite pass through the 50, right? It kind of touches the 50 and leaves. I like to see the RSI dip below the 50. So that would be a signal there, right? Let me just take off the period separators. That'd be a signal long for me on my strategy. Again, as I come back through, that would be a signal long. That one would be a signal long. And then obviously you can see we get signal longs. And this is why I say you need to be like an algo, because are you going to be buying the market up here? You know, absolutely not. You know, you're not going to be buying it, but you're going to get signals from your strategy. And just because you get a signal from your strategy doesn't mean you should take it, right? So this is the first one, and you can see it then drops back below. We cross back the 50 there, cross back the 50 there, right? So if I was to take all these ones here at the high, at major resistance, you know, that's a bit of a silly thing to do, and you'd be knocked out on all of these, right? But the good ones are when you're traveling from an area of support, okay, down through here. You're in trend. We were looking at the weekly beforehand, and the daily we're in a trend. We then start to expand from the trend, okay, and you've got an area to target, which is this resistance level up in here. If we were to look at it on the flip side, 50 and 200 cross, and again you're looking for the downside this time below the 50. Hopefully that makes sense. If you want more signals, okay, now this is depending on how aggressive you want to be in the market, then I have a 20 and a 50 system. And all it's going to do is give you an early signal, okay? Again, remember, I'm saying signals. This isn't a buy, sell. This is a signal. And that's what your strategy should be. Your strategy should be, it's giving you a signal, but are the conditions still correct for that signal to take place? Because you've got to pretend that you're an algorithm, right? So if you go to a 20 moving average, again, you can see the 20 and the 50 cross a little bit earlier now down here. Okay, not the greatest, but a little bit earlier. And they give you the same sort of signals. What it does do is knock out the sort of top signals that you would be trading through here, because you get the 20 and the 50 cross a little bit earlier there. You get some earlier signals to the downside, okay? The only problem is it'll give you false sort of setups as well in there, won't it? Okay? But again, it's all about conditions, what you're looking to do at the time. And it's also to do with your why. So before you even trade a particular market, why are you even trading it in the first place? There has to be a why. You know, you can't just load up eur-Aus and go, I'm going to buy eur-Aus. Well, why are you buying eur-Aus? What are the conditions that are going to help that market? Even if it's a simple thing of strength and weakness, like a lot of stuff that I do is strength and weakness. You know, I know at the moment that euro is strong and Aussie is weak. So if I go to euro-Aus chart and we zoom out, is the market in an upward trend? Well, yeah, because we've been looking to buy it basically down from the one spot 58.75 because we've got, right? Oh, the throat is going. So, I apologize, guys. So yeah, I think, Vincent, when you say kind of what are you entering confirmations you look for, I look for a very simple way to enter the market, but you have to have reasons above that before you can even consider getting involved, if that makes sense. I think what a lot of traders miss is the conditions. The conditions around the market before you start trading that particular market, okay? Right, guy, yeah, usually have to have 3 to 4 reasons to enter a trade, or otherwise to stay out. That's good. That's very good. Let's go take a quick look at what's going on here on gold. So you can see gold is technically setting up here. We can see that we've got that sort of bearish candlestick. We've got the 50, the 200. We're closing back below the RSI there. So, but we need another hour here. If that doesn't do that and price starts to rally, it's a bit of a no-go. What I want to see is how the dollar index reacts to the 102, because if the 102 reacts as support, then we could see price move higher, perhaps into these highs, or even to the 103. That means we should see a little bit of pressure on gold. So that's what I'm going to be waiting for there. Guys, I'm going to cut it here short because my throat is absolutely killing me. And I don't really want to continue to cough down the microphone because I don't think that's fair on you guys. But yeah, CPI reaction. We'll see how the PPI comes in tomorrow. Thanks for joining me as usual. Hopefully next week I'm back to 100% and we can do these for a bit longer. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a great trading weekend. I'm going to sit there and watch gold for a little bit, and I will speak to you all next week. Thanks, guys. Cheers, right guy. Thank you, Denise. Thanks for all joining me today as well. Thank you for all the questions. Really appreciate it. And I'll catch you next week. Cheers.